Parma City School Superintendent Dr. Scott Hunt is a seasoned educational leader with over 35 years of experience spanning K-12 and post-secondary education. He served in a wide range of roles, including teacher, counselor, principal, and superintendent. Dr. Hunt has also held leadership positions at the Ohio Department of Education. As former superintendent of Cardinal local schools, Dr. Hunt has led successful Levy campaigns, launched a business collaborative, expanded academic offerings, and implemented comprehensive technology and safety initiatives. At this time, I'm proud to introduce Dr. Scott Hunt.
Thank you, Dottie. How's the mic? I'm looking at Jack. Can you hear me in the back? No?
Third thumbs up. You're good.
Oh, thank you. Even all the way in the back. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, that's better. Much better. Thank you. I appreciate everyone coming to Normandy High School for the State of the Schools. Obviously, I see most of our students have cleared out, but this is why we're here, and we appreciate everything that they've done. So why don't we give Culinary Arts, all the other programs, another hand. So here's the agenda for this afternoon. So some of you know that every couple of weeks I push out a video. It's called Did You Know? And it's focused on highlighting activities, programs, and people across the district, as well as district finances, buildings and facilities, etc. But I'm going to show you a video to start our presentation. It's titled Did You Know? But it's not my video. Then I want to talk about some district highlights. I'm going to talk a little bit about the levy, the brief levy history that I can share with you. I want to talk a little bit about district finances so that everyone has an understanding of where we are as a school district today. And then I want to talk really about investing in our future, because everything that we're talking about today is about investing in our future, not for Dr. Hunt, not for the administration, not for the board, but for 9,000 students that attend Parma City Schools. That's why we're here. That must be our focus. And then we'll wrap up if we have time, and I think this is about a 2-hour riveting presentation. A half-hour riveting presentation. I know that we do have a time frame on this. So let's start with the video. And I would just point out, as you're watching this, and hopefully you can see it, I want you to pay close attention to some of the items that pop up here. And I want you to think about this in a future-forward way as you watch. So why would I show a video like that to start off the state of the schools? Because when we talk about our schools, we need to be thinking about how we're preparing our students for the world they're going to inherit. And that doesn't take just the school system. That takes all of you. That takes our 3 communities to really think about what it is we want 3, 5, and 10 years from now. How should our schools evolve to develop creators, problem solvers, and critical thinkers? If you were watching the slide or the video, the jobs that are, and we had kindergarten kickoff a couple weeks ago, it was great. Students registering for kindergarten. So what is that, 12 years of schooling, whatever the year is that they're going to graduate. The jobs that they're going to walk into that we have to prepare them for don't exist yet. And so we have to be forward thinking in how we evolve and develop our creators, problem solvers, and critical thinkers. We also have to ask the question, how do we ensure that all students have equitable access to future-ready skills and technology? We don't live in that world, but they do right now. And we need to make sure that when they leave us with that piece of paper, that they can step into either a career pathway where it's attractive enough to be in the Parma City School District, our 3 communities, that they want to stay here. And we need to make sure that they're ready. And we also need to define what skills they'll need in the next 10 to 20 years. And are we preparing students for that now? And I will show some of our programs and highlight some things that I will tell you we're on that pathway of making sure that our students are ready to step into the world that they'll inherit. And it's going to be much different, and it is much different than the world we grew up in. So that's why I would show that video. And then I think about Parma City Schools. And not just Parma City Schools, but every public school across the state of Ohio. Our schools in Ohio are an investment in our community's future. It's not just a cost. It's an investment in the future. And I said this on my way into Parma City, that we need to be forward thinking, and we need to talk about how we invest in the future for 9,000 students. That must be our focus. Strong schools help maintain and increase property values. Ask any real estate agent here in the crowd or out on the street. They're going to tell you that families are attracted to safe communities that have strong public schools. It makes the community more desirable. And adequate funding ensures students gain the skills needed for a rapidly changing, technology-driven world. So that's why I started out with that video. Because as we think about the future, we can't think about the here and now. We really have to plan for 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And what does that look like for students that go through our system? Always want to tie back to our district goals. As you know, we have a strategic plan here in the district, and we're going to be working on this strategic plan in the future to really lay out some action steps and measurements so that we can ensure that our students are ready when they leave us. So we do have 3 goals in our strategic plan. To improve student achievement, which is primarily about student success, not just on state tests, but students have to achieve outside of those state tests. In fact, those are the bare minimum because the state requires us to do that. But we need to make sure kids are really, really ready for that world they're going to step into, and whatever that looks like. We need to make sure we create a healthy environment for students so that they feel like they belong and that they feel like they're safe when they come to us, because our job is to make sure that they're learning. We need to practice fiscal responsibility. We need to be financially transparent, and we really need to focus on buildings and facilities. And so when I think about financial transparency, last night we held a community conversation. We have shared in several town halls and board meetings where we stand in terms of our finances. And we're going to continue to do that so that everyone in our school community understands where we are financially. One of the things that we've focused on in terms of building and facilities is really taking a close look at how do we maintain this stable footprint that we have. And Mr. Pollock, who's here from our leadership team in charge of buildings and grounds, has a 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year plan that we are implementing, and we are working to make sure that our buildings are more attractive, that they're maintained, and that when you walk in, it's a place where you want to be. We also talk about increasing transparency and connection with our communities. And part of that is really what kind of service do we provide back in terms of that customer service approach. How are we engaging with you so that you'll want to engage with us? And then, of course, creating a culture of communication and collaboration. Like, we can't do this alone. So we need the support of everyone in this room and out in our 3 communities. So we always tie everything back to those district goals, and we're going to make sure that we're focused on this plan moving forward and actually building upon what you see here. So I want to talk about some district highlights. There are a ton of things that I could highlight, but again, having only 30 minutes, I can't highlight everything. So I'm going to talk through some things that I think are noteworthy and that actually tie back to our initial video. So one thing that we're going to continue to celebrate is our district report card. So last year we were at 3.5 stars, and I'm not going to go through the whole report card again. Some of you have heard that presentation. I know Dr. Cruz has given that to the board. It was like 3 hours or something like that. Anyway, but our overall rating this year is 4 stars. That took a lot of hard work, and I'm very proud of that, primarily because my name's on that report card, even though I didn't do the work. Everyone here in the district did that work, and we're at 4 stars. And we want to maintain or get better than what you see here. And again, this is still just a minimum. This is what the state requires us to do, and so we want to make sure that we are achieving and hitting those stars at the highest level that we can. So in achievement, we had 3 stars, progress 4 stars, in gap closing 5 stars, graduation 3, early literacy 2, college, career, workforce, and military readiness 4. So we do know that there's some work to do in the district, and I can assure you that our curriculum team, they are working very hard with staff across the district to make sure we're addressing those needs. So, but we're very proud of the overall rating. The other thing I want to point out is our advanced placement program. I'm going to just walk through a few of these things. So when advanced placement courses first came into being, they were primarily selective. Kids who are going to college should take AP courses. But AP and advanced placement is really about access and exposure for students at the high school level to really gain some high quality college level coursework. So we offer those here at Parma City. So part of this is making sure that kids have that opportunity to learn in these kinds of settings and in these kinds of courses, so that when they do go to college, because to me, if you're in your second semester of your senior year and you haven't prepared yourself with the rigor of this kind of coursework, if you choose to go to college, then you're not going to be ready come August, because it's not a very long time frame. So we want kids to have access to these courses. So we offer advanced placement, drawing, art, and design, 2D and 3D. We offer AP Bio and Biotech Honors, AP Business and Personal Finance, AP Computer Science, AP English 3 and 4, AP Calc, A and B, AP Stats, AP Pre-Calc, AP Music Theory. In science, chemistry, AP Physics 1, AP Physics C, AP Bio, Biotech. Social Studies, AP European, AP Macroeconomics and Microeconomics, AP Psychology, AP U.S. Government and Politics, AP U.S. History and World History, AP French and Spanish. Our students have the opportunity at college level coursework right here in our high schools. That's critically important because they need to be ready whatever they choose, whether they choose to go to a 2-year or 4-year college or whether they are on a career path out of here. This is the foundation of the learning that they'll need to have moving forward. So I'm proud that we have an advanced placement program, and I'll add here on the last slide, we also have College Credit Plus, which kind of ties in with this AP discussion. This is also an interesting chart that I believe when we started the program, it was shared with me that kids would just take the course, but you didn't have to take the exam. And if you didn't know, if you take an AP course, there's an exam that goes with it. Now we want kids to take the exam because that exam represents money if you're going to college. So students that earn a 3, 4, or 5 can take that to their college, they're on their transcript, and potentially they don't have to pay for the initial course that the college offers. Colleges always try to get your money though, so they'll get you somewhere. But kids can take this and opt out of those initial courses. So you look at 2021, which is on my left as I'm facing this way. We had about 387 exams and about 184. Thank you. God, I don't know where I put my glasses. Anyway, 184 students that had an exam score of 3, 4, or 5. So this is the exam taken are the darker bars, and the lighter bars are exams with a score of 3, 4, or 5. And so leading up to 2025, 795 exams taken, because at some point we required it. So 795 exams taken, and exams that had a 3, 4, or 5, 549 at 68.9%. Again, I point this out because this is an opportunity for our kids to really be prepared when they leave us. This is something I was amazed to hear about when I got to the district, and I want to highlight this again because this is a keystone program in our district, our Career Tech program. So if you don't know this, most high schools don't have Career Tech. We have 2 comprehensive high schools here in Parma City. So our Career Tech report card, and I want to point out there's only 8 schools or districts in the state of Ohio that offer Career Tech the way that we do. I'll start at the bottom. Cincinnati, big city. Dayton, Toledo, Columbus, East Cleveland, Lima, Youngstown, and Parma. Now, Parma's not at the top of the list by accident. We're at the top of the list because our state report card is at the highest possible level that you can get in Career Tech programming. And I also want to point out that the fact that we run our own Career Tech programming, we can serve hundreds and hundreds of kids each year. If we didn't have this, students would go to Cuyahoga Valley Career Center or Polaris, and it's selective. We'd probably have 40 kids total able to go to one of those programs. So we do it here for every kid. The other piece that most people don't know about, and I've talked about this before, if we do have to send kids and we don't have this kind of programming, you pay the tax for it. It's about 2%. The community picks up the tax to send our kids somewhere else. We do it right here in-house for hundreds of kids. And it's high quality programming as evidenced by our report card. So this is something that we want to make sure that we highlight and that we keep in place to serve not only our students, but it also serves a purpose for the business community as a whole. This is the pipeline that we should be talking about. How can we be more attractive so that kids stay here and they come out and join your businesses. And then we have some other programs. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time dipping into all of them because of the time factor, but we have an integrated preschool that we offer for families. Kindergarten Launch Academy. We have an extended childcare program. We have K through 8 STEM programming, and PLTW's Project Lead the Way, which is the curriculum base for some of our STEM programming. We also have College Credit Plus. College Credit Plus, we partner with colleges and 2-year, Tri-C, 2-year schools. We have many of them that we partner with, but our students have access to programming grades 7 through 12 that they can take College Credit Plus courses, and they can get college credit by taking those courses. So when we talk about what we offer and what we have in place here, those are things we want to maintain and build upon. And it's very important that we have the support to do that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the levy, because as you know, we do have a levy on the ballot in May, which is weeks away, I believe. Short time frame. So I'm going to talk through these slides. I'm going to go kind of year by year here because I want you to hear it. So so we haven't passed the levy since 2011. Many of you know that. But I'm going to start in 13. So in 13, May and November, we were not on the ballot. In May of 2014, a renewal levy passed. So those are levies, tax levies that had passed previously, and they were just renewed by the voters. In November of 14 and May of 15, we're not on the ballot. In November of 15, new operating levy failed. In March of 16, we were not on the ballot. In November, there was a renewal, and that passed. And typically those do because it's not additional money. You're just renewing what you had passed previously. In 2017, new operating levy failed. November, not on the ballot. May of 18, November of 18, new operating levies failed. In 2019, renewal passed. That's May, not on the ballot in November. In March, a renewal passed in 2020. In 20 and 21, there were 2 bond issue attempts. Bonds are only for building, not for operating. When you go to a bond issue, that's because you have a plan to do some construction. So those 2 failed. November of 21, not on the ballot. 22, not on the ballot in May. November and May of 22, and then 23, the bond issue was on again, and that failed. November of 23, we had a renewal on that passed. Weren't on the ballot in March and November of 24. And then most recently, May, new operating failed, and new operating failed in November. And so that's our levy history. And when you look at the chart, you could see the renewals typically pass, but the new money to operate typically does not, and we believe that's because it's tied to property taxes. So I want to talk a little bit about our district finances. So this is what the district looks like today in terms of finances. So this is our 5-year forecast. I don't know if you can see that in the back, but I'll try and walk through this. So when you look at our most recent 5-year forecast, we always look at this bottom line, the unreserved fund balance. And you can see in 26, or maybe you can't, we're in the black in 26, 49 million, 30 million in 27, 9 million in 28. And so when it comes to the state of Ohio and what they do when they look at school districts, they look at 3 years. And so when you look at the 3 years, we're still in the black, so they're not going to reach out to us. When we do the new one, and this year drops off, and our forecast looks like this, black, in the black at 9 million, in the red at 14 million. That's when they send us a letter. Well, they send it to Sean first, I believe. And then I get it. And they say, hey, you got a problem here, you need to fix this. And typically we come up with a plan to fix it. Sometimes it's reductions in staff, sometimes it's pulling back on spending, whatever that is. And then you could see in 2030, 42 million. And people have asked me, you've been here a short time, but why do you keep asking for a levy? And my answer has been because we continue to fail at the ballot box. We only have 2 mechanisms at this point to raise revenue for operating. We can ask for a property tax, and you saw the history, or we can do what we're doing now, which I'm going to talk a little more in depth about, which is to ask for an earned income tax. So that's what the 5-year forecast looks like. It doesn't look good. And I can tell you in this updated forecast, through no fault of our own, but through changes at the state level in terms of how property or how taxes are collected, we're down $7 million. I don't know how to fix that because we don't have too many options to do that. I said this the other day in an interview. We're not going to be able to invest in Bitcoin. We're not going to win the lottery. We have to rely on the support of our communities. So that's what the 5-year forecast looks like for this year, or for this submission. It will change again here when we provide another update. Okay, I always talk about the days of cash policy that we have. We have a 60-day cash policy, meaning we have to have 60 days of cash on hand so that we can operate the district in the event there's some type of an emergency. And so that number is about 25 million. 60 days is about 25 or 26 million dollars that we have to have as we look at the cash policy. So when you look at these numbers, going back to 23, we're at 97 days. It's above the 60, 123, 121, 110 days in 26. 27, we're still okay. We're at 67 days. But without any new operating dollars, we're at 20 days, 31, negative 31, my apologies, negative 31 and negative 88. So this is why we continue to talk about having the support of our communities in terms of operating funds. So I always pivot off of this particular chart as a superintendent, because when I look at that, that's what causes me to pause and keeps me up at night, is, you know, how do we overcome this challenge? And so obviously failing a November property tax levy and knowing changes at the state and the potential ballot issue that might take away all property taxes, where we'll all be in trouble, we had to move from reliance on property tax. So we are trying to move, just simply move our portfolio from a reliance on property tax to a new ask, which is around a school district income tax. And so I want to talk through a few of these things. So why did we change from this? One, it's been clear to me, when we put up a property tax, the vote is no. And it has been since probably before 2013. So as we look at our district and we listen to what the community is saying at the ballot box in regards to a property tax increase, we thought it was time to have a different discussion. So some ideas were brought forward, and we talked through, you know, we have to do something different. So let's talk about this particular pathway around a school district income tax. And districts across the state are looking at this. There's Willoughby East Lake's in a similar position we are. They have a 1.5%, I believe, on their ballot. They also have 5 renewal levies, in which I think they're planning to give back 4 in terms of property tax relief. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So that's why we're doing it. So our ask, our request is 1.75%. This is separate from federal, state, and municipal income taxes. Only applies to residents of the school district and is exclusively used to fund the schools. A question I get quite a bit, especially from our senior population: is this going to impact me? So what types of income are not considered earned and therefore will not be taxed? Social Security, interest, dividends, retirement pensions, capital gains, unemployment, workers' comp, lottery winnings, profit from rentals, etc. So those things are not taxable. It's earned income. How much will this cost? So this is based on your individual income. If you live in the district and you are earning an income, it's 0.015 times your earned income. That would give you your number in terms of the tax. So it is based on individual income, and those are the numbers. And you could do the math if you have an earned income. Who pays for the earned school district income tax? Only residents who reside in Parma City Schools and who have earned income will pay the school district income tax. If you work within the district but do not live, then you would not be assessed that earned income tax. If you don't have any earned income, if I don't have any earned income, and I'm a homeowner in the Parma City School District, will the passage of the earned income tax affect me? Yes, it will affect you positively through a reduction in your property taxes. Now, that's not automatic, so our request is really three-pronged. In exchange for 1.75%, we have 3 renewal levies that you saw in the levy history that we're going to kind of take off the books. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The money, always, what are you going to use the money for? Well, we need to operate the schools. You saw the 5-year forecast. You saw the days of cash policy. We're running out of money. We don't want the state to come in here. And those that think that that's a good idea, I can assure you it is not. In a local control state where we have a locally elected board, you don't want the state telling us what to do. So we don't want that. So this will go for all operational costs for the district. So we have 3 renewal levies. They expire in 30, 31, and 34. 9.2 million in 30, 15.6 in 31, and 15.7 in 34. It's approximately $40.5 million in those renewal levies. We believe that in our request, we're simply trying to shift our portfolio from a reliance on property tax to this request. So that $40.5 million in those renewals would be in exchange for the 1.75, which the Department of Taxation is saying would collect $50.3 million. At the last board meeting on March 12th, and I should probably say, so when you look at the ballot language and you go to vote, it's only going to say 1.75% school district income tax. It is not going to have on the ballot what I'm sharing with you now. It's not allowed to be on the ballot. I guess that's the answer. They don't put language on the ballot that is something controlled by the district. So the board passed a resolution, 2026-03-144. I'm going to read it. I apologize, but I am going to read it. A resolution declaring this board's intent to implement certain budget cuts and cease collection of certain ad valorem property tax levies for certain years upon approval by the school district's electors at the election to be held May 5th, 2026, of the question of a 1.75% school district income tax on the earned income of individuals residing in the school district for a continuing period of time effective January 1, 2027. So that resolution addresses this three-pronged approach. A 1.75% earned income tax in exchange for 3 renewal levies that we would cease collections on. The first, all 3 of them, we would cease collection on 1/1/2028. Yes, it creates a little overlap for us because we can't give them all back today. We still need the money coming in. And my understanding on collections is if this were to pass in May, we'd collect in January. We'd start collection. But it takes time to catch up. So we'd only collect about 5% of that $50.3 million. And then in the next collection, which I believe is quarterly, I'm looking at my treasurer, he's saying yes, quarterly, it'd be about 75% of the collection. And then in that next quarter, we'd collect the full amount. So we have to build in some time so that we can continue to operate without having to worry about the state coming in and giving us, a letter that we need to make changes. So we would cease the collection on all 3 on 1/1/28. The third prong to this is that to be fiscally responsible, we need to take a close look at what we can do inside. So the board had several work sessions, or at least 2 work sessions, to talk about, so what does it look like in cost reduction? So I can tell you the story on cost reduction. When we first engaged in this quest down the path of school district income tax, I shared with the board and our leadership team and others that have heard this out in the community that we were going to cut $15 million. Then we got the actual collection number from the Department of Taxation because we initially estimated $47.8 million in a collection. It's at now $50.3. That reduces the reduction a little bit. But I can tell you there isn't $15 million to cut here unless we're just going to get rid of people and programs. So we're trying to be extremely thoughtful, the administration as well as the board, on making sure that students get what they need, because ultimately our responsibility is still to our students and families here. So $15 million is almost, I shouldn't say, nothing's impossible. But if we did that, it's going to hurt really bad. And the other night, last night, somebody mentioned, when there were some really, really big reductions, changes in the school day, elimination of programs, like we don't want to be there for our kids. So that shifted a little bit. Then the board was provided with some scenarios. What does this look like if we cut 15, 10, and 5 million? Well, here's what I can tell you. 15 million hurts really bad. 10 million hurts. 5 million stings a lot. 4 million stings less, but we think we can do 3 million, which turns to 9 million over 3 years. And so that was part of the resolution. That is what the board is comfortable with, what we're comfortable with in terms of making reductions. What it looks like in year 2, it just depends on what we are able to trim now, because there's a compounding effect in year 2 and in year 3. So that's what we're doing in terms of the cost savings. That's how we're going to provide property tax relief to those who own homes, and in exchange for the school district income tax. We don't have any other mechanism. We can do this one, or we can go for property tax. We already know, right? Who's voting for a property tax? Nobody in the state of Ohio. So this is really our only mechanism, which is why it's incredibly important for our 3 communities, our business community, our schools, our board, to really be engaged in this. Not for me. We got 9,000 kids we have to serve. We have kindergartens that just registered, that we have to prepare for a world that I couldn't even predict what it's going to look like when they get out of school. And that's our charge. So really, this is about investing in our future. I said this in the fall, and I'm going to say it again, and if I have to say it again in November, we'll do that. But this is really about investing in the future. What do you want Parma Heights and Seven Hills to look like in the next 3, 5, and 10 years? When the schools thrive, the communities thrive. When the schools go down the tubes, hate to say it out loud, but so do the communities. That's when people leave and they go elsewhere, and we start to look like other districts that we don't want to look like. So really, I want you to consider this as future forward. How do we address making sure kids get what they need, and that we can help our communities thrive, and that we can help our schools thrive?
Here in Parma City School District, we coordinate with a bunch of new friends here. I've made connections beyond belief. I have friends from all different places.
Coming to school has made me more mature and realize how important my future really is, especially like a class like this, and I'm sure many other CTE programs in the Parma City School District.
The Parma City School District has provided me with so much information, so much opportunity.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you again for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was very, very compelling, all the stats. Something I'm very passionate about, being a member of this community, and I'm also so encouraged to see all the people here who are invested and interested in what's happening in our school. So I thank all of you for coming. Wanted to invite you all next week, next Thursday, same time, 11:30 to 1. We're going to have a luncheon in Seven Hills at Seven Hills City Hall. And our keynote speaker next week will be Bob DiBiasio, who is Vice President of PR for the Cleveland Guardian. So I invite you to that. You can register via our website, www.parmaareachamber.org. There's a whole list of other events coming up too on some of the frames on your tables. But once again, I want to thank Dr. Scott Hunt.
Thank you.
And every one of you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, our second and final number is Singing in the Rain. Hope you enjoy. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3,
Thank you.